I'm good at tanking right now. Queue up for the Teen Titans Sims in the event tab to challenge yourself against the most difficult battles DC has ever seen. 30 rounds of challenges. Await. If you can survive each round, consider of 2 waves of 3, okay, and 1 boss at the end of the wave. Okay, you get material items, okay, pets, orbitals, okay, you're saying a lot. Dude, I'm still playing this man. I played since 2011 and stopped playing last year. Game is so dead right now. The one thing about it is it's not actually dead. It's still growing and still getting better. And they're still starting to target a lot of people. Yes, it might not be like anything else, but they're like in the sense of like World of Warcraft or you know, I don't know, like, you know, PUBG or, you know, stuff like that. But it has its community, and its community still stays behind it, because remember, if a game is completely dead, it will stop playing it, and they will stop making content, and the game will completely go under. Like, it will completely go under. And we know that they got the extension with Daybreak, and they were able to get that extension with Daybreak. So remember, like, they will constantly still be able to advertise a lot of certain things that's going on. Yo, my hairs on my leg is just like, yo, they're standing up right now. Yes, I stopped playing. Oh yes, okay, let me see what you're saying. Yes, I stopped playing at 170 CR. Lost, okay, loads of skill points. I was more of PvPer. Me too, playing player versus player. That's why I could not really talk on how it is now. So yes, I feel you. I'm still a PvPer. I have my second character right now working on PvP. He is not too far from, like, you know what I mean, 101. They have not did anything with PvP yet. 101 is the top level that you can be at right now. And I still see people go in there who have the PvP level of 101 to get the consistent level of battling and getting that whole, using their power and putting, you know, them against another character and feeling that way. I see what they're doing right now, and they're doing an amazing job doing it. But they're not doing it for anything. Like, your Marks of Valor doesn't go towards anything. It doesn't go to nothing anymore. So basically, DC needs to come out with a new tier, like probably 102. 102 is going to be the next one, and then find that inspired, bring a couple out of missions that, you know, that PvP is going to be able to do, make everyone get back on to the situation. And I know PvP was not the same PvP back in the days, where these same powers that you were able to use were debuffs. And I'm going to show you right now, like, these powers would have been a healing debuff, and this would have been a tank debuff, and this is a trolling debuff. So I've been around for many years too, and I know how the game has switched to a certain standpoint. But the one thing about this game is that you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to adapt to the game. And the one thing about everything else is, like, yes, everyone wants it to be the same and whatnot, but, you know, when they pick up different labels and different label picks them up, things tend to change and happen. New players get new, developers stay in line. Some people change up. Some people have brilliant more ideas for the future, and that's what happens. And, you know, I mean, it was its greatest time when I started first playing. And the one thing about it is, it's still a job opportunity and an opportunity for the Daily Planet to keep on updating us on the website and making us understand what's going to be happening for the near future. But PvP will still be effective. Some guys are a little bit stronger, some powers are a little bit stronger too, and they have to be because they're usually supposed to be tanks, healers, and all that type of stuff. I just feel that, like, you know, like anything else, you're not allowed to wear PvE gear in PvP. You need to have PvP gear to get the level of consistency of your character to stay alive. But for the most part, you know what I mean, it's a constant challenge. It's a constant challenge, and something that's going to make you realize playing this game is worthwhile. Adapting, you know what I mean. Players will get smarter. If you are a smart individual already in this game and you know when things are happening and you can read certain reads, you're going to have an excellent time playing this game. You just have to play with guys that might be on the same level and the same wavelength as you to understand to get good groups.
You need to be ready to neutralize anything that comes out.
But you could call me dead man. It's a long
Okay,
story
yes,
we
I
don't
just
have time
like
for.
PvP.
Constantine wanted me to tell you about a
When
nasty demon
I
lord
was
whose butt
just
needs
playing
kicking.
PvP gear and I could fight for like 10 to 30 minutes. It was just for fun. Yeah, it was, you know what I mean, open world PvP, chilling by Chinatown, little Bohemia, raiding villains, or, you know, villains raiding heroes and defending certain places. It was a fun time. It was a fun time in DC. It was for a very long time, and the one thing that I just would like to let you know that, you know what I mean, even though you do PvP, like, there will be other feats in other areas that you are going to have to grab to make sure that you are positively moving towards the higher level of PvP, so you can obtain to lock everything you possibly want. So the one thing about it is, like, PvP has a lot of feats in it, you know what I mean, and this game is based off feats. Yeah, you can have the gear and stuff, but people do not understand. It increases your health, increases your power pool, increases your vitalization. If you're a troller, giving out power to yourself to give you the power to do all the moves constantly on a constant basis. It gives you the resto. It gives you all these type of areas that you can fill in and then be able to be dominating in all those areas. And as soon as you unlock a certain amount of things like that, you'll be pretty much good, you know what I mean? And because skill points definitely helps PvP. Yes, it does, and people do not understand. I have atomic tanks probably with 150 CR, no, 100 and you know, I have PvP guys that probably have atomic tanks at, you know what I mean, skill points at maybe 150 and doing PvP, and then they run into a guy like me who has 358 skill points, 358 on this character, 357 I think it is, 355 skill points, and then what happens is I'm doing way more damage than usual, guys, and they do not understand. And one thing about it is, because I spec'd in a certain way to make my guy a little bit stronger in those areas, and in the process, it just makes me so much stronger when I can be a roll and actually be able to be strong enough to do DPS damage. And it's a problem for most people who do not understand the characteristics of choosing certain players. You know what I mean? If you want to be a melee, or you want to be, you know, precision, or you want to be might, you know what I mean? So that's just basically what it is. I was a tank though, switched before fire and ice. Ice has been really strong. Fire, they gave it a couple revamp and made it a little bit better. From what I can tell you, they really did a big number on hard light. Hard light is not as good as rage anymore. They're not as strong as rage anymore. They used to be very much like the most strongest DPS powers out there, and people used to do situations where they would do it on bots, like, you know what I mean, do it on bots first, and basically they would have a starting time and a goal time when they would keep going, and they will put it side by side and just to show you the life. But the one thing about it is creating a loadout. All loadouts are all somewhat the same, but they're different in their own ways to give you a certain amount of crits and hits.
Some challenges
And guys who understand doing it repetitively and know their roles and loadouts do so much better than people who do spamming and just clicking buttons out of random. And you had a character who actually had a loadout for both of them and actually was able to do them, and then he was able to show you how long to burn somebody that had a certain amount of life that you can imagine, you know what I mean, and the total number that you would be able to find out. Yeah, I was tired of to reach. I was trying to reach 300 before I quit. I reached 290. Possibilities right now, I can tell you that are really going to be chance of getting that really quickly. There are going to be feats in the game that require you to open up bundles, booster bundles, and you are going to get styles. A lot of these styles are going to give you a lot of feats. They're going to be 50-point feats, and they give you a lot of situations where you can open up these bundles and get a lot of these things. And the one thing about it is, if you are not from that time playing the game, you might not be able to get it, but it will be somewhere in the broker that you can be able to get it. But the one thing about it is they're making vendors now, so you can actually purchase them through some type of way that you have, what is it called? The new wave of currency. It's at the bottom. Yeah, quirks. So, it's to take in consideration, and yeah, it's pretty much neat. It's pretty neat. I'm gonna look for groups to go and do this mission. Invite for I stopped playing this game for a minute, and I'm back again, and you know, man, my schedule has changed a little bit differently. But at any given moment in time, it could switch back and come back to what I need to do in DC Universe Online with the work I put in, and then after all the excess, you know what I mean, thing. I know life out there could be tough and stuff like that. I'm still holding on to my most enjoyable moments until the time is gone, where it's going to be totally gone, where I have to continuously do this, mindlessly doing it. But DC has always been a grind for me, and I always enjoy playing this game. I have seen people come across in the future, like from like my past, I should say, not my future, my past, that ended up once played a game, and now they look at me as one of the strongest characters they have seen by far, and I used to look at them the way that they looked at me, and now they see me moving so much at a rapid speed and increasing, and definitely playing the game to its best ability and staying alive and doing a lot of things, and they get really nerve-wracked because they know I'm not wasting time. I'm not really wasting time not getting better, you know what I mean? There is a lot of people out there that pride themselves on getting better and achieving numbers that they were not expected in their lifetime to even get, or, you know, family, you know what I mean, family, friends, or whatever you want to say, that, you know what I mean, like first you start in your household, and then you move outside into the real world like anything else in these streets, your block, your streets, and then you start to realize you start to be doing a number, and then it's actually damage, and most people do see that, and some other people would, you know what I mean, like, hey, you know what I mean, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. But yeah, man, all these numbers are going to increase, and you know, like from the beginning you were hitting for like 5s and 10s and all this stuff. Now I'm hitting for thousands and doing amounts of damage and being able to get these guys to be going down faster. So I'm hitting crits a little bit higher, over 100,000, and yeah, I have a lot of things going on my page, you know what I mean, that I'm enjoying this game as. And the one thing that you realize is, if the characters never change their names as, like, you know what I mean, DC Universe Online characters, you can remember who have you seen, you know what I mean, that caught your eye, you know what I mean? I'm more stuck into more characters that are going to be DC character iconic wise, and I will keep on them on my list and whatnot, but for anybody who makes a character that's like the next legend, nothing wrong with that. You have to be really good to capture my eye. You know what I mean? You have to be really good to capture my eye. And there's just a lot of leaks that still stay alive till this day. There's a lot of leaks that still stay to this day. Yes, I might play soon after exams. Yeah, you know what I mean? No rush. But this game will always be around, and as long as you get your subscription for DC Universe Online, you can do as much as you possibly can. And now they're starting to give people to free to play now to being able to open up and actually play the new content. But after to a certain level, you want to get the gear and stuff like that. When you get a certain amount of points of credits of like what's it called? Your work, your progression of work, what you've been doing, like what I'm doing right now, and then you're trying to achieve something, you're going to realize that what's it called? Sorry about that. I'm trying to focus on my whole loadout. You're going to understand that you need to be a certain level to actually be able to obtain the gear that is right now the highest level gear. So they're basically giving you an incentive. You can do all your missions and you can come in here and knock them out. You can get into event groups and knock them out and have fun with doing that. So, you know, it's really fun. It's really fun. So the game is still enjoyable. There's people in the game. I just believe that there's certain time of the day that people play. I'm in key chats with people. I'm in DC Universe Online chats and on different communities and stuff like that. And likewise, staying well rounded in knowing their podcasts and what they got going on and what's new. So the game is still alive, and the most important people are still there. We have seen people like Spittle and a bunch of stuff. Wait, what the hell's going on? What is going on? You know what I mean? Guys like that who stayed down for a very long time with the company and stuff like that used to be playing it on their own time and whatnot. But you know what I mean? It would be fun to see if these guys actually play it on their own time and actually do missions and see them do battle and you know, be able to conquer certain things as a group, you know, like, you know what I mean, to just show the community that they play the game as much as they listen to it, you know what I mean? So I'm someone who still plays the game. I don't see anything better. The first time I ever played a game like this was Ultimate Alliance, and I heard Marvel is coming out with a game in the future, but they didn't release it yet. So it's supposed to compete with DC Universe Online. And anybody who knows anything about a competing level, there's not another game on a DC level or like Marvel level that is competing with a game like this. And there will be another crowd that will compete with DC in the near future like this and be able to get skin styles and all that effects. But the way that I'm looking at it is that what is it going to look like and how's it going to transfer over into space on your computer or you know what I mean, the tutorial, you know what I mean, all those things that are going to be very much important to showing what the game is important about. Because Ultimate Alliance was basically you are going through missions and then you get to be, you know, Wolverine, you could be the Hulk, you could be anybody you can possibly be to a certain standpoint, and you have to increase his level of power, and then after when you get to a certain level, you unlock everything. You kind of unlocked everything to the game. There's styles is in the game, there's different styles in the game, but there is no customization and there is no updates going on after that. That's why when I was really into games like this, seeing the numbers and increasing, it was one of those games that realized to me that I like a game like this, you know what I mean? Like, and I like an MMO like this, you know what I mean? I appreciate an MMO. I came up from Pokemon playing on Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DSi, you know, DS, and I came up on all those type of things, and I realized, like, you know what I mean, like Game Boy, like Game Boy, you know, even Game Boy, like, just to come up from an MMO point of view, not moving around, but knowing you are going to every time, you know, like, uplift your character. You get into a certain battle, you do a certain thing, and you keep on increasing. And what happens is, life works the same way like that. You know what I mean? I see people saying I make millions of dollars and millions of things, and I'm looking at my HP, like, and I'm looking like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a power level. You know, that's all a power level to me. Like, that's really something. You know what I mean? Most people wouldn't think of it like that, but that's a lot of energy. Some people probably did it with no effort. They just did it with mind mind strength, mind power, you know what I mean? Their talent that was able to give them, and you know what I mean? That's what I feel that this is always so, good to me, like when I play a game like this. And I like Captain Adam's story. I tell people this all the time. He was a soldier, and he was someone that people looked at as a leader. He did as much as he possibly could for his country. He was protecting as much people as fronting from certain lines from his country. He was one of those guys, and he was very much a high priority guy on a team, and whoever was commanding him or leading him to being a certain person really found a chip on the old block. You know what I mean? They found somebody that will willingly die for a great cause and put himself on the lines of fighting for something more than himself. And one thing about it is that even though as Captain Adam ended up finding out, that he was convicted for certain things, and because of something happening, he was convicted for treason, and then basically for some reason, if you don't know what treason is when your country immediately wants you off the soil of what that country stands for wherever flag. So basically, he would have to step between Canada or New Mexico. He would have to go to Mexico, one of those areas, because he was so discluded from it. And basically, they ended up making him do a whole situation where he was supposed to do this treatment, the same thing like Captain America, and he did a whole study on him. And basically, what happened is the study went wrong, and then he was, formed for a certain amount of, years, and then he ended up blossoming out of the, the midst of dust. And when he came back, he was not the same person anymore. Life was not changed. He didn't have a wife. His wife thought he died. All this stuff. He found out a bunch of stuff happened. The commander was watching over his son. His wife died earlier. He was watching over all of those things. Like a lot of things were going on at those times, in Captain Adam's life that he ended up feeling. And then, he had to leave that behind because he was a different character now. He was a different human being. He was a different energy. He was different. He was way different. And he had to just become who he was always is. His brain was still intact. His well-being was still intact. But people seen him in a different light, in a different being. And, he is one of the most powerful tier. Like, basically, you have an A column, you have a B column, you have a C column, and you have a D column at most. And depending on your superpower and the level of how like boss fights you were in, and it completes with your challenges and your upcoming and upbringing, and then your toughness, and then obviously your egotistic ways and all that would lead you into a tier A. How strong you fight a certain person, how long you last against take a hit, all that stuff lasts and means something, and basically that transfers over into toughness. Anybody who knows what PvP is toughness, you need a lot of it. If you have a lot of it, you are going to be very strong in a lot of sets and situations that you go through. And like anything else in life, if you have toughness and you can go through it, and most likely people see, like, you can see a bunch of people phase and go through it and they don't make it out really strong, and then it comes out to being somebody who makes it out, and then it's like, wow. It's like Player Number One. If you ever seen that movie called Player Number One, it's a gamer's movie. Player Number One is a gamer's movie where a bunch of people from an agency who has the best top gamers across many different websites and the games that they play, and they know the game, and some newbies are like from newcomers and all that stuff are playing this game, and basically they're trying to beat and find the golden egg. The golden egg in a certain game is basically the hidden secrets of games that people do not understand. One thing was, when I was younger, I found a hidden secret on my own time when I was learning a certain glitch in a code. I was doing codes and glitches when I was younger, finding games out and trying to get into barriers and passageways that people didn't have any firewalls or any way that they can possibly get through. One thing about it is, there in Pokemon, there was a certain thing, Pokemon Blue. I had Pokemon Red, and I had Yellow. And it had Blastoise, Charizard, and then Pikachu on one of them. There was one level that I was able to go to when I had to go and first the gym leaders in a certain area. I wanted to find out what was going on. I start swimming on the sidelines and I found a Pokemon that was incomplete on looking at on the screen. And what happened was I ended up beating it and I end up getting rare candies. I was doing this on a consistent basis on a level of like just keep doing it, and I was just giving rare candies to my characters. And basically level 100 will be the highest level that you are able to get in Pokemon, and you cannot go farther than that because of the game capacity. And one thing about it is the higher you are, all the moves that you use and do are so much stronger to any Pokemon that you can hit. And when you hit it, it's gonna fall down. And basically the whole thing about it is if you did not know how to do that situation, you go into those gym leaders had Pokemon's level 85, almost close to 90, and they can hit you for like, oh my goodness, you know what a Pokemon's life is, like anything else, like, you know what I mean, like they can get to maybe 500 tops. Life HP, they can probably get to 500 tops. I haven't seen anything higher than that. Probably. You would have to show me now, to this day, like what kind of characters are going that, and most likely it was the legendary characters or those characters you cannot catch if you don't have Master Balls or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you the history of like gaming that I had. And I was really empowered by stuff like that. I came up with Smash Brothers with numbers, and certain hits do certain amount of damage, and like it was one of those things with a numbers game, and the more numbers you had, the more damage you could take out your opponent, or depending on if you have a group and you're individually and that boss doesn't focus on you and that you can do damage, you are hitting him for how much you ever made. Like, you know, that's how scary it is. And you know what I mean? Those guys, that's why they always got to be tiptoes on certain characters, because they can hit really hard. And I was one of those characters that was always looking to increase my power level and my damage level. And I know a lot of people do not understand what I mean, but you know, through life, you know, you play SimCity, you know, it converts us into something else. The more leverage you have with certain things, the more life you have. You know what I mean? That's just basically the more you can do, the more you can have, and more wield and power that you can have, the more patience you can have. It comes with a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? It comes with a bunch of stuff, and that's just basically what it is. But I like coming back to DC, man. I love the characters that they bring into DC. They involving new characters all the time, and they're putting new characters in storylines and opening new doors. They putting new NPCs in the game, you know what I mean, and giving more people jobs for, you know, to be certain voices and actors and stuff like that. And I think it's an opportunity and, you know, a blessing in its own way, because these characters are pretty much you know, something that everybody who has been in, like, you know, the, you know, war, or even, you know what I mean, like anything with you know, soldiers and living and dying for it, they know about comic books. Comics books has been around for many years in time. I had people who's been on American soil that they say they play this game and they're serving their countries doing this, and like not serving like doing this game, but like serving their countries and playing games like this. And like being on home base and stuff like that. So you can really see where this game comes from, and I don't care what nobody says. This game, this lifestyle that DC has always lived, people lived and died for these storylines for many years, fought for their individuality, their own composure. It's been something that, you know, has been a business for many years in time now. So I don't know how you can say a game could be so dead. I just believe that they need to advertise a little bit more, but advertising costs money too. So remember, you know what I mean, when they do have the leverage and everything works out properly and fine, I believe a lot of things are going to work out for this game, and a lot of people will join this game and they'll be looking for help from guys like me. And remember, there's always going to be people who are going to start the game and really not know how to play the game or what the game is initially meaning or what is it standing for. But when you really take into a moment, like anything else, you study and you realize what it is, or you watch other people's content and videos and see how they live and how they do certain things, or how they've been grinding from sun up to sundown, you tend to realize how the lifestyle might look like and how it would play out. But remember, not everybody could be in that position, but with time and effort and most likely exposure and experience, you will be where you want to be, and you will see people once again fall off the map and not be coming back online. My friends list is so high. I still see certain people. I will not see most of these people back online for a very long time. Why? This game costs a certain amount. This game is not free to play, and this content is not free. So believe me when I say this, I am showing you the best of the best. And if you know this name, go type it on YouTube. I have him on my friends list, and I pop by him too. You will see legends that will come and go, that was once so big in this game, that had the people all against them. Guys who wanted to fight with them, guys who wanted to work with them, guys who wanted a groupie around them, and guys who obviously like to follow his content and like to watch what he likes to do, so they can basically personalize all their positions where they would be like, yo, he has the best loadouts, he's doing the most damage, he's doing all of this. This is what the game is all about. And remember, if you type this guy up, you would know who I'm talking about. Ventus SGN. We popped up on him with a leak, and he was looking for groups, and he was a pretty much daily streamer and whatnot, but he stopped over time. People know content comes out, something new comes out, they probably pop by and do it. If you were really smart in video game world, all you need to do is play the game to a certain standpoint, make it to a certain level, but this is hours of gaming. And most people do not have that lifestyle. That's why I said if you're a kid who ever stayed beside your TV and had multiple millions of games that your parents were actually shooting at you, and you were reading them and you were able to describe and everything, basically it's the same exact thing that people are playing and really working for companies like IGN and doing all this stuff and talking to guys and getting jobs and knowing what they're talking about, and not just being a pretty face that sits in front of the camera and knows what they're really talking about, but actually knows what they're talking about to get the consumer to buy the game, or why should they really look forward to seeing this game improve. Okay? So when you get to that level, when you multitask so much games, you're going to be very, very, very big in selling certain situations. It goes with anything with marketing. Who is your target? Where are they? What are they liking from the situation? And why are they so picky towards certain characters? If we said, like, you know what I mean, if DCU did a poll where they were like, hey, what would you guys think about a Superman content? Or what would you think about it? These are the people who are fueling it and actually giving it money, even spending time, even watching the reading. People do not understand how serious this thing is. But the one thing about it is, when you follow someone like me, you are going to be tested to its most max point. I break people down all the time. They don't do this to me until I quit myself. And I believe to myself, man, it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until certain people fall out. But until that time happens, I got to reap the benefits of knowing that I'm going to have to do this. So, you know what I mean? I hope that's just words of encouragement. I know I've been talking for a long time, and I never messed up in any situation that I was going in. My mind is intact. It's focused and locked in and loaded. Like it was on a safe, and then I put it back on armed. This is not a game. And remember, the people who are going to be dressed up as these characters in the near future, remember, there will be so much conventions going on in the world. You're going to see different body types and guys wearing different outfits and character out, and they don't even look like the character, but they have something why they like that character. They're their own celebrities. You got drawers who made these guys into celebrities on celebrity status. And their storylines are so much more realer than most people can even actually live to see. So believe me when I say this, it's more than what you guys think it is. Because remember, most people's lives are pretty much boring and locked in, loaded in, knowing that they know from time into sun up to sundown, they know how their day is going to look like. And you could repeat that for the rest of your life. These guys, these superheroes, they live a life where it's so immaculate, so energetic, so much willing, so much power to see people on a daily basis give up on themselves all the damn time. to empower people who do not even have it. And remember, not everyone does kumbaya or gets along with each other. It takes time. And you see egos, and you see all of it. But that's what the game DC brings out. You can be a character and you can have an ego behind it. Yo, I like getting you guys into some complete knots where you guys cannot even catch me with my mindset. It's just a lovely thing. And you guys just sit down and listen like anything else. Like the president was reading the book like Lex Luthor. And he would say again, I love my kids. Come work for LexCorp. Yo, on a Millie gang. Oh my goodness. Alright, so let's go and see what we gotta do, man. We gotta do this next mission, and then we can continue with collecting our points towards fixing certain situations. I'm trying to get invite to Smog, and I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff today, so hopefully I will get to it. But for the most part, I'm really looking forward to see what the survival mode is all about. I'm gonna troll it, and I'm gonna have fun doing it. I'm waiting for certain things. Okay, look, I'm certain. Okay, invite for Smog. I want to get to Smog, to be totally honest. And the people in DC Universe Online, they're always watching your spelling, man. If you spell something wrong, they're not inviting you until you get it right. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do this as fast as I possibly can, but Smog. Oh yeah, see Skip is right now looking for players. That's really good. I can tank here for Smog. So I just sent him a message. Hopefully he gets back to me. And yeah. And the one thing about this game that I'm liking and enjoying, the styles are getting so much better, man. My Captain Atom 6 years ago, 5 years ago, would not look as clean as it looks right now. And through time, it's the developers that are looking for much more things. But the one thing about it is, when they start adding skins that's going to be like body skin types that they're going to be implementing, where you can actually wear a skin that looks like something, yo, it's going to improve. This game's going to just be so much immaculately that good. The only thing that's going to make you look so different is your name. Your look is going to be nice, but there's so much copyright things that they don't want the copyright thing and do, and they're trying to work in the limitations, and they're always asking, and you know what I mean, towards whatever contract it comes out to being the best out for all of it. So they know they're still preaching on the lines of saying this game is going to be based on, you know, something creative and great, you know what I mean, and talk about the innovation that this game has, you know what I mean. It's only gonna get better. So I swear I just sent him a tell. Oh my goodness. Invite for Smog. I'm surprised, you know what I mean? I would swear that a lot of people would be looking for a tank to do this. Especially, I see one person, I see two. You're villains. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I swear somebody was shouting out for Smog. Yo, that's the one thing about it. The groups in this game should be much more faster, but I realized if I did this on Thursday, the groups I would have got much more faster, but it's Sunday now, so it's a little bit more later than usual. But you know what I mean, guys like this don't understand how strong you actually have to be in this. But he's smart enough to leave because he realized it's not just a normal type. See, look at that. That's like tanking with So you're saying sorcery has like some tanking? Yo, it's so cool. Yo, it's so cool. Like Earth and sorcery has a pet, and like he forgot everything about the main person who threw out the pet, and he stayed on the pet, and that guy was able to fly off and know that guy was really strong. Wow, it's like having a best friend and then making sure that you know that he's gonna be like, I don't know about that, but like too much about that, but good, you know, yeah, you know, but best friend, you and him trying to knock out something in the pub. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm still waiting for this small because the reset's on Thursday. So I'm trying to wonder like tank invite for small. Okay. I'm gonna help this guy. Yeah, he's building a group. I don't feel like building groups right now. Building groups is one of those things that if I really wanted to, I had to ask for CR, ask for certain levels. But if it's not hard, then you don't have to worry about that type of stuff. But when certain things because there's certain things that you need to make sure that you are successful in every situation. You can't just run in there into a raid with all DPSs. And now the game has gave you capability of like healing effects when you do not have a healer or you don't have a troller in the room and he doesn't throw out power, so you get power back some way and somehow if the troller is not a troll that steps into the room. So this game has really tried to help out people as much as they possibly can. There was a couple months ago, there was a certain thing where you were able to level up your character to 191, and that was happening through certain things in the game that you have to acquire. So it was amazing. Now they added this new decoy situation where you can actually know where you're supposed to go for every mission, and it will direct you there, and when you get directed there, it just gets smaller and smaller in number, and yeah. So the guy who invited me actually ready. Okay, so I'm about to start this. I just want to know that everyone else in the group is ready. And I need to get him on the platform. Oh my gosh. Why do I feel so squishy? Why do I feel so squishy? This is not right. This is not right. Hold on. Why do I feel so squishy? Look. He turned into a healer and I'm still not getting heals. Imagine that. He turned into a healer and I'm not getting heals. What the? Look, I'm still on red. This guy got me on red. Who is he healing? Yo, that's crazy. See, that's what I mean. I got picked up, so that's what it is. If I was making a group immediately, I'm thinking like I'm not getting heals. I'm not getting heals right now. What the hell? Yo, man, I don't know what it is up with these games. When I start talking serious like this game sites start acting stupid, like people are watching me and stuff and they're hacking my shit. I'm not supposed to be easy like this. I got the gear way above this. Yeah, man. And then they know that I know what I'm doing because they can see it. This is not right. I'm not getting heals. I definitely would say that healer's trash. That healer's trash. You need to go into another role. If you don't know the importance of healing, then you don't definitely understand what it means. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most people, but the game is always gonna bring new people aboard. It's just gonna be sad because I don't have the old people who know how the game really works. Because they know I know what I'm doing. Because I'm not being stupid at all. They know what I'm doing. I'm not getting no heals. And when that big boss comes, it's gonna be a havoc. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Everybody's by themselves right now, man. I'm not doing that. Healing is one of those things. I realize as a healer, I don't like things people dropping, but some people just do it to themselves. I don't even know what to do. Like, that's just on you, you know what I mean? That really is on you. And then after, you're gonna expect me to keep healing you, and then it's just gonna be like, yo, really? Like, come on now, man. Like, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. You know what I mean? It's been like this for the last 50, 20, 40 years. You know what I mean? But most people don't have healing experience where it's like that, like they have healing experience like that. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is. Like, I'm still in the DPS form and I'm not getting healed. Like, and I'm nowhere close to damage where it's gonna be overpoweredly damaged. I don't know what that healer is doing. That's not a healer. Okay, I got hit. Okay, somebody really has an area effect on them and they're really trying to, yeah, they have the most on them right now. They got an area effect on them. Okay, you see, this is why I hate when people are around me too much. It's okay to pick me up and run away, but as soon as I'm close to someone, it's a problem. Look, someone got an area effect on them. This game is really acting crazy. You know how much streams I have done and I never go down most of the time? Off of nonsense like this? But I got credited for whatever I was doing because I was with the group. I just need to now know the group needs to stay away from me, man. I just need people to stay away from me now. Look, this guy has a healing pool down and he can't even heal. What? Yo, let me get out of this group. Let me get out of that group. That guy's glitched. And he's on the PC. He's glitched. And then look how my game is moving right now. Take it in. I'm the only person on my internet, and look how this game is moving. I don't understand this.
Why can't I remember the last few days? Oh no.
Those were
Someone
some
punched
nice
me
moves
across the
against
head.
that demon. You kicked its ass so hard.
I know it feels like
think
every
Daddy in the
demonic pod is
sky felt it.
replaced as soon as we destroy it, but don't let that...
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All this funniness, man. This game got me twisted. I'm gonna have to start turning off some things and making this see if it works. Okay, let's see what happens.
I love watching this thing go off. We finally get to let loose with some of our cool toys.
Yeah, I played Ultimate Alliance. That's what it was.
It's not always easy to banish a demon.
Your aid has tipped the
Your
balance.
success.
The Sentinels of Magic, thank you.
So let's see what we have. We have 100. Tank here for DR. Let's see if they can pick me up, man. Come on. You know what? I might have to queue up and just help a group. You know what I mean? A group that might not be that successful. And okay, so we got a group so far. I'm better at least tanking, but I'm just nervous because certain people just don't have what it might take to do certain things. But the one thing about it is, like, whenever I'm in a group, I turn out to be successful. I literally watched the guy stream, and he was in there. He was streaming for the past 3 hours. He was streaming for 3 hours. He was doing this mission. Hold on. I think it was this one right here. The Hunt. The T5. He was doing it. All jokes aside, he was in there for at least an hour and a half.